School Board regular business meeting at 7:02 this evening. Thank you, everyone, so much for all of your flexibility today. I know we have some pretty significant modifications here that I'll talk through. Obviously, we are being live streamed via conference call instead of in person, but I appreciate your, like I said, your flexibility. I'm going to go ahead and start off with the Native American land acknowledgement, and then I have a statement here that I wanted to make sure I read. Today, I would like to acknowledge the people whose land we are on, regardless of whether or not we are in person today. Present day, Portland is located on the traditional village sites of the Multnomah, Wasco, Cowlitz, Clackamas, bands of Chinook, Tualatin Kalapuya, Malala, and many other tribes who made their homes along the Columbia and Willamette rivers. Let us also acknowledge the robust Native community made up of tribal diversity that originates from around the country and whose journeys have brought them to Portland by ways of forced displacement or seeking opportunities. Today, these same communities celebrate their heritage, showing resilience and tenacity that would be greatly admired by their ancestors. So before I continue, can folks hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So, as we shared on the modified agenda, David Douglas School District's highest priority is the safety, health, and well-being of our students, families, staff, and community. And given the guidance that we received yesterday from Governor Brown and the state of emergency the city of Portland is in, I did go ahead and decide to modify our school board meeting this evening to conduct business remotely via phone. And the school board will be discussing and voting on action items only this evening, and we're going to be tabling our other previously scheduled agenda items to a later meeting. This was obviously a really difficult decision and one, that I made with a lot of consultation from our superintendent, our vice chair, Stevens, and our OSBA legal team, and I did just want to articulate that public input, community engagement, and transparency of board business are top priorities for me. And while we did communicate in multiple languages, that written testimony is still going to be accepted, and I do think that we got several written testimonies for this evening's meeting. I do recognize the logistical challenges that were presented given such short notice, and I do apologize for the inconvenience that posed in some folks' schedules. I do want to continue to accommodate additional participation and engagement as much as possible during this emergency that we're facing, and I also personally called a lot of community members today and let them know about these changes to our board meeting. Ultimately, the implementation of the Student Success Act continues to be a top priority for me, and I know for a lot of you other colleagues as well in the district. And so I want to make sure that we're continuing to work with community partners in the David Douglas community at large as we work towards equitable implementation, since I know that was the majority of what folks are wanting to share with us today. And then I just briefly want to share a couple other things that I do think that, we'll absolutely continue to be in close contact with health officials, county and city leaders, and continue to share updates publicly about what's going on in the school. I do just want to acknowledge and recognize the economic impacts that these changes are having on our local businesses, our nonprofits, our community, and our district as a whole. And we'll continue to have as much communication around that as possible. And then lastly, I just wanted to say that my thoughts are with those folks who have been diagnosed with this illness, those with underlying conditions, those more susceptible. Families are really kind of worried right now, and I just want to acknowledge and recognize that. Please remember to wash your hands, do your due diligence, be safe, be healthy as much as possible, do your best to follow the social distancing guidelines, and we will continue to monitor this in the district. So before I turn it over to our student body president, I did just want to open it up to other board members if you all had anything to say. I'll also just ask that you state your name before you speak so that we can make sure that we're collecting that information for us. And then one more thing, if you're not speaking, please go ahead and mute yourself too so we can try to avoid some background noise.
Andrea, this is Frida. You said you received some testimony. Could you make sure it's sent to all the board members? Because that isn't the case that we received it.
Yes, absolutely. Will do. Okay. If there's nothing else from anyone else, I did just want to deeply appreciate and acknowledge Jared for showing up on this call this evening. I know that this was a big change in your schedule, and I really sincerely appreciate you taking time to join us today. While we don't have the student body president remarks formally on the agenda, I just want to give you some space right now to just share anything related to what's happening in the district, what's happening at the high school, not only related to the coronavirus, but just anything that you think would be important for us to be hearing right now. And again, just appreciate your willingness to join us.
Hi, this is Jared. First of all, of course, I guess to start off, not talking about the virus, we did have like some good stuff is that we did have our like Black History Month / Rose Festival assembly not too long ago, and that was really cool. Yeah, it was really awesome. The BSU put on different like dances and stuff, and that was really dope. And then our Rose Festival princess is Michelle Lee. So that's really awesome. Next week we're having Mental Health Week, which is cool because like dogs are coming on like Tuesday or Wednesday. I think it's Wednesday, and I'm excited for that because they're cute and they're an uplifter of the mood. And then it's like a 4-day week, so everything's on point. But I guess with like how like I can't speak for every student, but like what I've seen like in the conversations like in school around like the coronavirus and like what's going on with like the like like field trips are being shut down and competitions are being shut down and people are there's like there's definitely like groups of people who have like anxieties about what's going on, but there's also a lot of students who are like not too worried about it, just kind of like not too worried about it. But I've also heard a lot of frustrating confusion from some students who are confused about like why athletics isn't canceled, but like orchestra is canceled or something to that extent. And so like there's that feeling that's like going around with that I've heard. And then people are a little like disappointed by the cancellation of a lot of events, of course. But I don't know. I hope that's what I got.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. We appreciate it.
Of course.
Ken, did you have anything that you wanted to add briefly before we kind of run through the agenda? Totally fine if you don't. Okay. Great. Thank you. Okay, so we are just going to go ahead and move through this agenda. But actually, before I do, just to reiterate some of the written testimony that we received, the testimony that I know I received is a written formal letter from Latino Network. And then I also received 4 other testimonies from Unite Oregon, I believe all of which were in Spanish. You may or may not have received those because there is that translation that was necessary. And so I know that Aida has been working really hard on getting those translations to you. If you haven't received them yet, I will make sure and connect with Lori to make sure that you're getting those. I think I did see an email from Ken forwarding you at least the 3 original Spanish testimonies, and then there was another one that came a little later. So again, those are the ones that I have personally received at this point, and I'll make sure that I'm continuing to connect with Lori on getting you all of that written testimony as quickly as possible. And so for the agenda, the way that we're going to do this is I'm going to do roll call voting, and I'm going to do that through our positions and just go in position order. And so to refresh your memories, the order, and I'll call you all by your last name. So it will be Barber, Stevens, Larson, Muranovic, Barrow, Valderrama, and then Christopher. And so we thought that this was just going to be the best way to be able to capture in the notes everyone's votes. And so with that, I'll go ahead and start us off with the consent agenda. This is an action item. Does anyone have a motion to move?
This is Frida. I'll move to accept the consent agenda items.
This is Donna. I second it. This is Donna.
Any discussion? Okay. I will start with Board Member Barber.
I said aye.
Stephen?
Aye.
Larson?
Aye.
Muranovic?
Aye.
Barrow?
Aye.
Valderrama, I vote aye. And Christopher?
Aye.
Great, thank you. Next item, we have the appointment of, well, I should say that motion, or that item moves forward. The next item is the appointment of the Budget Committee Member Position 3.
Hi, this is Christine.
Christine?
I would like to appoint Christopher Pikarski.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Discussion? Okay, we'll go ahead and call the vote. Barber?
Aye.
Stephen?
Aye.
Larson?
Aye.
Muranovic?
Aye.
Barrow?
Aye.
Valderrama, I vote aye. And Christopher?
Aye.
All right, that appointment moves forward. And the last item that we have is request for approval of sole source procurement. Is there a motion to move that? Great, yeah, let's have Pat do that. Thanks. Any questions?
I had a question. This is Donna.
Go ahead.
My question was just that based on the reasoning that I see here, it seems like we could never change, even if another software was less expensive or better, because that would always be the case that we would have to do the manual transfer. Am I understanding that correctly? But just for now, I just thought that there would always be that number, if not more, of books, and if that is the only way to change, wouldn't that always be? In other words, then it sounds like we would never be able to change no matter what. But you're saying, like, if we were to somehow increase the staffing, then that becomes a possibility? Or how would we ever change if pricing or if there are better products became available in the future?
So we could look at pricing, and we would also staff up and look at costs. Right now, I believe this is around $15,000. So it's not a significant amount as far as the software, but all the other equipment and things that go along with it. And then also a lot of the staff time in redoing the libraries. So it's not something at this point in time we think we could do, but in the future, if we found something better and we could staff up with it, it would be a budget request.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Any other questions? Is there a motion to move this item?
This is Stephanie, so moved.
Second?
It's Christine, I'll second.
Any discussion? Okay. Barber?
Aye.
Stevens?
Aye.
Larson?
Aye.
Muranovic?
Aye.
Farrell?
Aye.
Valderrama, I vote aye. And Christopher?
Aye.
Okay. That is everything that we had on the agenda for this evening's board meeting.
Andrea, could I
Yes.
make a request? This is
Yes.
Frida. Since we aren't actually being there, Pat usually supplies a financial statement. Could she email that out to us, please?
Yes. Hi, Frida. This is Ken. Yes, that is the plan. She's going to email that out.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for the request.
Yeah, thank you. Anything else for the good of the order from colleagues or
Yeah,
Ken?
I think Ken might have spoke to it, but I see there's a number of people on YouTube listening in on this. I'm just wondering if there's anything you want to say, Ken, that maybe provide a little reassurance to parents that would be concerned tonight before we close this up.
I don't. Sorry. Could you repeat that, Aaron?
I'm wondering if I noticed that there are several people following along on YouTube, and I'm just wondering, there's probably a lot of concerned parents out there. If there's just anything we can say that provides a little reassurance before we close up tonight.
Oh, sure. I'd be happy to. So it's kind of, so I'd first start with what I had the opportunity at the beginning of the meeting to communicate. First, thank you to all of our parents for their patience, flexibility, and understanding as we go through this process. And thank you to anyone and everyone that's been communicating to the district through either the school principals, the district office. We've had a number of different communication things. And then with that said, I would say our number one priority is the health and safety of our students and staff and our community. And we're going to do everything in our power to continue that process of listening and learning from our state and doing everything we can to ensure that our students are safe at school. I can share that at this point, to date, we've been following the guidance from Oregon Health Authority, our county, and now our state governor weighed in. Part of the process that we've gone through, and we've sent this out in communication, but we are doing extra cleaning, more specific strategic cleaning at all of our sites. That includes high touch zones. We've instituted that in all of our buildings, in all of our kitchens, which the kitchens already did it, but now they do it, they tripled the amount they do it. And then also our buses. We're wiping down all of our buses, seats front and back through the process. So we're continuing to do what we can on this end to ensure our buildings are safe. My ask and to all of our community would be to follow the guidelines that we've received, and that is if your children or any adults that typically come visit our buildings are sick, are ill, are not feeling well, that they do not attend, that they call us and ask for any kind of support that way. They don't come to the buildings. Number two is that if they have any questions, to continue to reach out. But the big one is if their students are symptomatic, the ask from the county is that they do not return to school for 72 hours. So again, part of us trying to limit that curve is to ask our parents and families to keep their students home and themselves home during this process. I would also ask that anyone that's immune compromised and or is of a certain age, as based on the recommendations from CDC, that they don't attend our buildings either for their own safety. So with all that said, we will continue to communicate this information out on a daily basis, and please know if you have questions to contact the district at any time, because we want to make sure that we're staying as much in front of this as we can.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
No, thank you, Mr. Barrow.
Right. Andrea? Hey, this is Donna. I wanted to say, just express thanks to our superintendent and to all of the district staff just for the job that you're doing. I know this is an unprecedented challenge, and with things changing hourly almost and constantly, and there's a lot to consider and to juggle. And we just appreciate the job that you are doing. I encourage you to keep doing that and let us know how we can support you if there's anything else that you would need from us as well.
Thank you, Donna. I appreciate that. I know my team appreciates that. And I know, again, we have 1,600 employees, community members, and others that are doing everything they can to be collaborative and work in a team environment to try to get through this. So I will definitely share that with our entire staff in my next communication.
Anyone else have any other closing remarks? Awesome. Thank you all again so much for your flexibility, for really, being leaders in this unprecedented time. Don't hesitate to reach out to myself or Ken or Investor Stevens if you all have any additional questions or need any additional clarifications. I will be sure to follow up with the written testimony that we've received thus far for this evening. Thank you again, Jared, so much for joining us on this call. And we will continue to be in contact and work on how best to address this for our district and for our community. So with that, thank you all so much. I will go ahead and adjourn this meeting at 7:28. Thanks, everyone.